My name is Alex. I'm 30 years old and I live in Chicago. I work in cybersecurity, which means I spend most of my days staring at screens, analyzing patterns, and trying to catch lies hidden in code. Ironically, I never thought the biggest lie I'd uncover would be in my own relationship. When I met Sophia 2 years ago, she seemed like everything I had ever wanted. She was beautiful, ambitious, and told me she worked as a real estate agent. I admired that. Real estate in Chicago is competitive, and she spoke about it with such confidence. I'm always on the move, showing apartments, meeting clients, closing deals. Her life sounded busy, glamorous even, compared to mine. I liked the idea that while I was buried in data, she was out there in the real world, making things happen. But from the beginning, there were small cracks. She never showed me her listings. She never introduced me to colleagues. When I asked about her agency, she would smile and say, "It's complicated. I work independently." I wanted to believe her. I told myself not to be paranoid, not to let my professional instincts bleed into my personal life. After all, I was in love. Still, I noticed things. Her schedule was chaotic but oddly consistent. She was always busy with clients during the evenings, the exact hours when most people are home from work. She often said she had to rent a small studio apartment downtown to meet clients privately, because some people don't like visiting offices. That explanation never sat right with me, but I swallowed my doubts. I remember one night vividly. She came home late, around midnight, claiming she had been negotiating with a couple about a loft. She looked exhausted, but not in the way someone looks after paperwork or contracts. Her makeup was perfect, her hair styled, her clothes not businesslike, but more alluring. I asked her how the deal went, and she brushed me off with a vague, "They're still deciding." I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself love meant trust. But deep down, I felt a gnawing unease. It was like living with a puzzle where half the pieces were missing. At that time, I didn't know the truth. I didn't know that the studio apartment wasn't for clients, but for cameras. I didn't know that while I thought she was selling dreams of homes, she was selling herself online. And yet, the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. Looking back, I realized I was clinging to the mask she wore, the mask of the hardworking realtor, the mask of the perfect girlfriend. I wanted that mask to be real because it made me feel secure. It made me feel like I had chosen wisely, like I wasn't alone in this city full of strangers. But masks always slip, and hers was about to shatter in the most humiliating way possible. It was a Friday night in late September, one of those evenings when the city feels alive, but I felt drained. I had just finished a week of endless reports at work. My friend Marcus insisted I come over to his apartment for beers and mindless fun. He said I needed to stop living like a monk and loosen up. We ordered pizza, cracked open a six-pack, and started talking about everything from sports to work gossip. At some point, Marcus pulled out his laptop and said, "Man, you've got to see this site. It's insane." He clicked through profiles on a cam platform, laughing at the absurd usernames and over-the-top performances. I wasn't particularly interested, but I played along, sipping my beer and pretending to be amused. And then it happened. Marcus clicked on a thumbnail, and the stream opened. My heart stopped. My breath caught in my throat. On the screen was Sophia, my girlfriend, dressed in lingerie, sitting in a room I recognized instantly, the studio apartment she claimed she rented for work. Her username was Miss S. Her voice was unmistakable. The way she tilted her head, the way she laughed nervously between comments from viewers, it was her. There was no denying it. I froze, staring at the screen as if I had just seen a ghost. Marcus noticed my expression and asked, "Dude, what's wrong?" I couldn't answer. My mind was racing, my stomach twisting into knots. I felt betrayal crash over me like a wave. The woman I trusted, the woman I thought was hustling in real estate, was performing for strangers online. And not just performing, she was living a double life, one that she had carefully hidden from me. I wanted to close the laptop, to pretend I hadn't seen it, but I couldn't look away. I studied every detail: the couch behind her, the lamp in the corner, the artwork on the wall. All of it matched the photos she had shown me of her work studio. The chat window was filled with comments from men throwing money at her, praising her, asking for more. She smiled at them, responded sweetly, and played her role. I felt sick. Marcus finally realized what was happening. Wait, dude, is that? His voice trailed off. I nodded slowly, my eyes still locked on the screen. I wanted to scream. I wanted to smash the laptop. But instead, I sat there in silence, my mind spiraling. How long had this been going on? How many lies had she told me? Every late night, every client dinner, every excuse suddenly made sense. The worst part wasn't just that she was camming. It was that she had built her entire relationship with me on deception. She had looked me in the eye countless times and told me she was working hard to build her career. And all the while, she was building a different kind of empire, one I wasn't supposed to know about. I felt humiliated, not just betrayed, but played, like a fool who had been living in a fantasy while everyone else knew the truth. That night, I didn't sleep. I went home, lay in bed, and replayed the stream in my mind over and over. Her smile, her laugh, the way she interacted with strangers, it haunted me. I knew I couldn't confront her yet. I needed proof. I needed to be sure. And most of all, I needed a plan. Because if she thought she could lie to me forever, she was wrong. After that night at Marcus's apartment, I couldn't shake the image from my mind. Sophia's face, her voice, the way she smiled at strangers through a camera, it haunted me. I felt like my entire reality had been rewritten in a single moment. But I wasn't ready to confront her, not yet. I needed proof. I needed to be absolutely certain, because if I accused her without evidence, she would twist it, deny it, and make me feel like I was crazy. I knew her well enough to understand that she was clever, manipulative when cornered, and capable of turning guilt into pity. So, I started digging. The first thing I did was revisit the stream. Marcus had closed the laptop quickly, embarrassed for me, but I asked him to reopen it. I sat there silent, recording the entire session with a screen capture tool. My hands trembled as I watched her laugh, flirt, and respond to anonymous usernames. Every second felt like a knife. But I forced myself to keep watching because this was evidence. Later that night, I went home and compared the background of her stream with the photos she had shown me of her studio apartment. It was identical. The same couch with the gray throw blanket, the same lamp with the crooked shade, even the same piece of abstract art hanging on the wall. She hadn't even bothered to disguise it. I dug deeper. I found her profile on the cam site, Miss S. Thousands of followers, hundreds of videos. She streamed almost every evening, exactly when she claimed to be showing apartments. Her schedule was consistent, her persona polished. She wasn't just dabbling in this. She was invested. I felt sick. My girlfriend wasn't a realtor. She was a performer, and she had built our relationship on lies. But instead of confronting her immediately, I waited. I told myself patience was power. If I exploded now, she'd deny everything, maybe even gaslight me into thinking I was paranoid. But if I gathered enough evidence, if I played my cards right, I could expose her in a way she couldn't escape. So I kept recording. Night after night, I captured her streams. I saved screenshots, videos, chat logs. I built a folder on my computer labeled Truth. Every time I opened it, I felt both rage and relief. Rage at her betrayal, relief that I wasn't crazy. The proof was right there. Weeks passed. I acted normal around her. I smiled, kissed her, asked about her clients. She lied effortlessly, weaving stories about negotiations and contracts. I nodded, pretending to believe. Inside, I was boiling. Then, one evening, she mentioned her birthday was coming up. She wanted to throw a party, invite friends, family, even me. She said she was excited to celebrate with the people she loved. That's when the idea hit me. I wouldn't just confront her privately. I would expose her publicly. I would show everyone the truth she had hidden. I would make sure she couldn't lie her way out of it. I told her I was planning a surprise for her birthday. She smiled, hugged me, said she couldn't wait. She had no idea what was coming, and for the first time since discovering her secret, I felt a strange sense of control. The pain was still there, but now it had direction. Now it had purpose. I wasn't just her boyfriend anymore. I was her judge, her jury, and soon, her executioner. The weeks after I discovered Sophia's secret felt like living in two parallel realities. On the surface, I was the same boyfriend she thought she knew, smiling, attentive, asking about her clients and pretending to believe her stories. But underneath, I was a storm. Every time she kissed me, I thought about the men watching her online. Every time she said she was working late, I imagined her in that studio, laughing at strangers' comments. I kept recording. Night after night, I captured her streams, saving them in a folder I called Truth. Each file was a dagger, proof of her betrayal. And with every recording, my anger grew. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I wanted justice. I wanted her to feel the humiliation she had forced on me. Then came the opportunity. Sophia's birthday was approaching. She was excited, planning a party at her apartment, inviting friends, family, even me. She talked about decorations, food, music. She wanted it to be special. That's when the idea crystallized. I would give her a surprise. Not flowers, not jewelry, not a romantic gesture. I would give her the truth, and I would make sure everyone saw it. I spent days preparing. I bought a projector, tested it, made sure the video files played smoothly. I edited together clips from her streams, the moments where she laughed, flirted, and responded to viewers. I didn't need to exaggerate. The raw footage was damning enough. The night of the party arrived. The apartment was filled with people, her friends, her sister, a few coworkers, even her parents. The atmosphere was cheerful, everyone drinking, chatting, celebrating. Sophia looked radiant, dressed in a shimmering dress, smiling as she greeted guests. She hugged me tightly and whispered, "I can't wait to see what you prepared." My heart pounded. I felt a mix of rage, anticipation, and a strange calm. This was it. When the time came for the surprise, I asked everyone to gather in the living room. Sophia stood in the center, beaming, expecting something romantic. I dimmed the lights, turned on the projector, and pressed play. At first, there was silence. The screen lit up with her face. Not the polished birthday version, but the version I knew from the streams. Sophia in lingerie, smiling at strangers, calling herself Miss S. Gasps filled the room. Her sister covered her mouth. Her parents stared in shock. Friends exchanged looks of disbelief. And then, laughter. Some people chuckled nervously, others outright laughed at the absurdity. Sophia froze. Her smile vanished. Her face turned pale, then red. She stammered, "Turn it off! Stop it!" But I didn't. I let the video play, every second exposing her double life. She ran to me, tried to grab the laptop, but I pushed her hand away. "This is your truth," I said coldly. "You lied to me, to everyone. Now they all know." She burst into tears, screaming, begging me to stop. But the damage was done. The room was filled with whispers, laughter, judgment. Her perfect mask had shattered in front of everyone she cared about. Finally, she fled the apartment, leaving her own birthday party behind. The projector kept playing, but I turned it off. The guests were stunned, some awkwardly leaving, others staying to gossip. I sat there feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. I had exposed her. I had taken back control. But as the adrenaline faded, I realized something. Revenge doesn't heal. It burns, it destroys, but it doesn't rebuild. Still, I couldn't regret it. She had lied to me, humiliated me, and I had given her a taste of her own medicine. That night, Sophia disappeared from my life. Her cam profile vanished within days. She stopped answering calls, texts, everything. It was as if she had evaporated. And me? I was left with silence, a projector, and the memory of a birthday party that turned into a public execution. The night of Sophia's birthday party was like a bomb detonating in the middle of my life. I had planned it meticulously, rehearsed the moment in my head 100 times, but nothing could prepare me for the raw chaos that unfolded once the projector lit up the wall. When she fled the apartment, the room was left in stunned silence. Some guests whispered, others laughed nervously, and a few simply grabbed their coats and left without saying goodbye. Her parents looked devastated. Her sister was pale, and Marcus, who had helped me record the streams, stood in the corner, wide-eyed, as if he couldn't believe I had actually gone through with it. I sat there watching the fallout, feeling a strange cocktail of emotions. On one hand, I felt vindicated. For weeks I had carried the weight of her lies, the humiliation of knowing the truth while pretending to be blind. Now everyone knew. She couldn't hide anymore. The mask was gone. But beneath that satisfaction was something darker: emptiness. Revenge had given me a moment of power, but it hadn't healed the wound. If anything, it had deepened it. I realized that exposing her didn't erase the betrayal. It didn't erase the nights I had trusted her, the mornings I had believed her stories, the future I thought we were building together. In the days that followed, Sophia disappeared. Her cam profile vanished. Her social media accounts went dark, and she stopped answering calls. It was as if she had evaporated from the city. Friends whispered about her, some condemning her, others pitying her. But no one defended her. The video had been too clear, too damning. As for me, I became the man who had destroyed his girlfriend at her own birthday party. Some people admired me for it, saying I had guts, that I had given her what she deserved. Others thought I had gone too far, that I should have ended things privately. I didn't care. Their opinions didn't matter. What mattered was that I had finally taken control of a situation where I had felt powerless. Yet, at night, when I was alone, the emptiness returned. I replayed the moment in my head, her face when the video started, the way her smile collapsed, the tears in her eyes. I wondered if I had crossed a line. I wondered if revenge had turned me into someone I didn't recognize. Weeks passed. I tried to move on, but the city felt heavy with memories. Every street reminded me of her. Every cafe, every park, every corner seemed haunted by the ghost of our relationship. I realized I couldn't stay, so I left. I packed my things, quit my job, and moved to Seattle. A fresh start, a new city where no one knew my story, where I wasn't defined by betrayal or revenge. In Seattle, I found a small condo overlooking the water. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I furnished it slowly, piece by piece, building a space that felt honest, free of lies. One evening, as I stood by the window watching the sun set over the bay, I whispered to myself, I'm done searching for truth in someone else's room. I'm building my own. And for the first time in months, I felt peace.